לכולם. This is my number 180, 186, page 186. The pasuk is Vayushet Amelech leEsther Sharvit Azov V'Tokavel Tavta B'Lifnei Hamelech. So the king handed over to Esther the Sharvit, the royal golden scepter, and Esther stood in front of the king. Now, there were two times in Megillah Esther that Esther comes in front of the king, and two times when the king handed her the scepter. One is more well known than the other one for some reason. One is when she was, petrified to go in front of the king. And this time, when she goes in front,
yeah, you know about
it? And the
you
king
know about this, right?
And the king gives her over the sharvit. So what does it say? כתוב שמה, he gives her the sharvit and she stood in front of the king. The second time, there's a few words that are different, and it's here's what it says. The first time, this was the second time. The first time it says, it says the king handed over the scepter in his hand, and she touched the tip of the sharvit of the scepter. And the second time, which is what the Mayim was focused on, he gave her the entire sharvit. So, king has the scepter in his hand. Esther's petrified to go in front of the king. The king, the first time, rolls out the scepter. Esther tips the scepter on the tip of it. Done. The second time she comes in, this is after Haman was dead. She says, we've got to allow the Jews to continue the job. And the king says, absolutely. This time, if you pay careful attention, he also handed over the sharvit, but the difference is, the second time, he gives her the full scepter. So the first time the king maintains the scepter in his hand, she only tips it. The second time, the king gives her the royal scepter itself. So number one, what is going on here? Why the difference? Number two, to understand, what does it mean to you and me? What's the pshat? To touch the royal scepter, the golden scepter, hold on to it. We are Esther, Hashem is Achashverosh, and we're coming in front of the king, and we're asking the king to hand us the royal golden scepter. So, Hine, Knesset Yisrael, we've seen this already in a few Ma'amorim, Nikis Hashem, Esther. We are called Esther. Esther means concealment. I will conceal myself on that day. The pnimis of Hashem, the revelation of Ishchina, where is the Pnei Hashem? It's concealed in Bayomahu. If I say Yemazeh, I mean revelation. If I say Yemahu, who is third person, Zeh is revealed. Yomahu is concealment. What that means is Hashem said, I will hide my pnimis, you won't see me. And where am I hiding? By Yomahu, inside that day. The derech prat b'chol nefesh miYisrael, and specifically in each Jew, what it means is, when the spark of your godly soul. It's interesting in Tanya, he also quotes that now also. We have a godly soul, we have a nefesh elikis, but we have a spark inside that godly soul. So the spark is the core of the nefesh elikis, of the godly soul. Which means, a pinta leid, when a Jew has nothing to show but a pinta leid, that's a nitzotz. So if your spark, sometimes this spark is covered over and concealed by thought, speech, and action of the world in physical matters. And therefore, God is not able to reveal itself in you. To be absorbed and grasped in your heart and mind, the love of Hashem, to be able to cleave to Hashem, it's only hovering above you. Nikres, Esther. If you want to know the characters in the Megillah, Esther walks in front of Achashverosh. What does that mean? Esther is a state of mind in which a Jew is in. And the state of mind is, maybe a state of heart, if you will, I deep down recognize that I'm a Jew. I do. I have the Pinta Le'id revealed in me. However, in as much as I have a Pinta Le'id, I don't feel it, and I'm stuck. Now, if you go to the story of Esther, right, I think you see it very, very clearly by Esther. She's a very holy lady, right? She's one of the, I mean, whatever. She's Esther, and when she walks in front of Achashverosh, she tells Mordechai, right? She expresses her absolute fear. It's terror, it's not fear. She's feeling terrified to walk in front of Achashverosh because he's going to kill me and whatever he's going to do to me, etc., etc., etc. So there's a little girl, a little Yiddish Meidele, who's going to go in front of the king. So the king is this. Can you imagine, like I don't know, take a seminary girl today and tell her, take her out of seminary, pluck her out of her father's home, and put her in front of, like, with the biggest king in the world you can think of today. Put her in front of, Ayatollah Khomeini, I don't know what. That's what we're talking about. And Esther's petrified. So all her external feelings are misaligned with who she truly is, right? So by Esther, it was by she was a holy lady, but this was just life brought her to a certain situation. By every one of us, what is it? Every one of us, our thought, speech, and action lead us astray. So if we were in a Geula mentality, we have Hashem at our core, and we'd be thinking from that space. It will be aligned with that. And that's the whole avodah of Chassidus, to align yourself with your inner core. When you're trying to do something else that's not you, then you're disconnected from your source. If you're trying to be happy and successful and rich and whatever else, you're not connected to who you are. That's called Esther. That's the story. Now she's hiding in Bayemahu, right? And that's already a shift in thinking. He's not saying, oh no, he has to ask the Parliament that I will hide on that day, but rather Bivchinas Bayemahu, which means that it's like in that moment. That's the subtle point here. In the nekuda of your heart, there's a massive chamber of godly revelation. So inside you, the love is definitely concealed there. Inside every Jewish heart. There is no Jew, no human, Adam is a Yid, who doesn't have this premise. You got to believe it. Every Jew has a Pintal Yid. It's just very different in each person how to release this energy and this powerful Pintal Yid inside you.
Is that what set Esther apart? She was the seventh Neviah, right?
Right.
So she had to have a shleimus, because the Rambam says Navi has a shleimus. So her shleimus was that she was able to take that pintala and bring it out and uncover it. What was her shleimus then, if she couldn't do that?
Wait a minute, I think the Pasha, that's what she did.
Yeah, okay, so that's what she did.
She was able to look at that moment. What did she do? She looked deep into her own self, and she says, I feel an external fright and terror, Boker Tov. I feel frightened, I feel terrorized, I feel like completely, all anxiety is Esther. And I'm going to overcome everything and walk into that zone.
Okay, so that's how you define her shleimus, that she was able to do that. I mean, look, I'm saying in a positive way. That's how you define her shleimus.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what she did.
Okay.
Well, what does that take to be able to truly overcome your fears and walk in with complete conviction?
That's the definition of the talking. That would be tough. Yeah.
And she didn't know what she didn't know what the next step was going to be. I think the point, as far as she was concerned, she was sacrificing her own life. Yeah. Which she did, by the way.
In the process. Of that.
She lost her. She went to Achashverosh willfully.
Yeah.
Every Jew has that pneumius. How you extract the pneumius when page Tzadik Daled, line 6. How you extract the pneumius is different to each person. When Mashiach comes, the glory of Hashem will be revealed, and the flesh will behold Hashem. And On that day you'll say, this is my God, I was hoping and yearning for him, Pirush. The light of Hashem will be illuminating you in a revealed way to the point till it will be grasped, and affixed, even in your brain.
So that Bayomahu was accelerated by her?
What?
That Bayomahu that we all have was accelerated by her? That she felt it at that moment?
What do you mean was accelerated? What?
I know we're saying by Yamahu that's what's going to happen. That's going to be Yor Hashem and it's going to be Ruach Kol, right? That's what's going to happen by us. We're going to look forward to Nizaman Mashiach, right? Are you saying that she had that moment then?
Yeah. I mean, that's what he's saying. The second part, he's saying, "Mamar Bayemahu." What's Bayemahu? We translate Bayemahu as when Mashiach comes. I think he's saying Mamar Bayemahu, when you are in a state of Anoichi, Aster Panai Bayoimahu, which means when Esther is in a state that you don't chap, right? You don't see anything revealed, and she's and everything's lost, right? Bayoimahu means Hahu. I don't see Hashem, he's hiding. So she says, instead of saying Hashem is not here, she jumps right into it. She leans into it.
So she says he
So the situation says who? Who means concealment?
She says
Zeh.
Yeah. Okay.
You saw today's Tanya?
Yes.
What does it say? It says that Yismach Yisrael Ba'isa, that part.
Yeah.
Today's DBT therapy. It says that therapy. So it says that when what?
So the way explained in the blue cipher, the new is that in the diversity of in the bria, the diversity of the bria is Ba'isov.
Right.
That's what it's like.
There, when you don't see Hashem, and it's Oisov, Lashon Rabbim, it's multiplicity.
Yeah.
In other words, Hashem is Rishus HaYachid. The whole world is Hashem. What does Hashem do? He makes it you can't see him. And he sends you into crazy positions. What you do is, every single thing you see is, I see Hashem this, I see Hashem this, and that's the Avodah. Yeah. How do you see Hashem? Everywhere. So Hashem's hiding, and a Yid, who's a Chassid, leans into the position. He notices that this looks bad, and then he goes right into it and says, why is it good?
As he also says, there.
Yeah, he says, there. So you say, what? You see God right here. So let's see in the Purim story, how did they do it? When they were in the States, you saw the Rebbe's letter from 1943, 43, 44, around that letter. He says, when there's a Haman, he was chairman of the America's Zion Chinuch, and he says, when there's a Haman who wants to kill you, the avodah of a Jew is to, like Mordechai does, to have absolute mysterious nefesh. In other words, there's no me, just Hashem. Complete mysterious nefesh. And they didn't know there was going to be a revelation of anything. They thought it was dead. It was over. They accept it, then the miracle comes about. So the more, always the question is, how do I align myself with Hashem? If they're killing me, they want to murder me, so what am I doing? I'm like, okay, Hashem, I'm completely ready to give up my life for you. And that alignment with Hashem brought about the miracle. So the whole story is, we look at Hashem, always the concealment, always a revelation. So your avodah is to find the awesome joy in whatever you're going through.
Yeah.
And that looks like you're just deranged. That's the problem. So the light of Hashem is revealed to the point that nitpas v'nikba fil b'moichem. It's your brain actually gets it, the seichel enushi. What does it mean seichel enushi? It means, is Hashem in this moment? Yes. Do you see him? No. So what's your work? Your avodah is to not allow the external to define you and to say, I see Hashem anyway.
There we go.
And in the flesh will behold Re'iyah Gashmi's Chushis. Re'iyah Gashmi's Chushis means look at the world and see God. I see Hashem. Boom. Not who. It's not concealed, it's revealed. If you look at what's going on now in the world, right? It's like if you pay attention to despite the pain, there's a lot of pain. But if you pay attention to what's actually happening, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. If you don't see God right now, crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And it's all natural. That's what's amazing about it. Yeah. Next paragraph, Pei Tzadik Dad. So now we know the setting. The setting is you have a nefesh elikis, you have a godly soul, and the godly soul gets concealed. So let's get this straight. This moment, Hashem is revealed, and you don't see him, but you have an neshama, and your neshama knows the truth and senses the truth. You don't sense that. So it's external, the pneumius and the chitzonius. What you want to do is, want to join us? Is align yourself, bring a safer, align yourself with the pneumius, right? To believe that and to focus on that. So you're really very needed over here because it's about being completely, what do you call it? Like, it's deranged, it's really deranged. Everyone. And then you say, but what are you doing? If you only see the good time and again, you'll reveal more good. In Amar Azal, Chazal say, they promised us one thing in the Megillah, that, no, this one, that the what's it called? The memory of Purim will never cease, and Purim will remain forever. Why? The second thing we say is, this is the same as the other Maimon we learned, the same question. Allah is in the long Maimon we learned, he asks the same two questions. Purim stays forever and Halacha stays forever. Why? So Pilpul disappears, all the other Yamim Tovim disappear, except for Purim. Again, the Rebbe has a sikh about it. That doesn't mean they'll disappear, it means they won't be important. Pull up a chair. Page 187, Tzadik Dal. You know, the reason is, what is Shabbos and Yom Tov? So now he's going to describe to us, it says all Yom Tovim are batel, except for Purim. So the first thing I want to do is understand what exactly is a Yom Tov. And then I'll understand why it's going to be batel, and then I'll understand what Purim is. So now he's going to describe what happens on a regular Shabbos and Yom Tov. What is it? The sparks and the worlds are elevated. Something is different about Shabbos, and if you pay attention to it, you'll see it. Shekol, I mean, we are not people able to see these things, but that does happen. Shekol, nitzutz, nishmas Yisrael, every spark of a Jewish soul, misale, elevates itself, b'madrega, in a higher level. Mipnei, oir Hashem, from the light of God, misgale, beitimai, which is revealed in those times. Bohem, and you expand and you add oira besimcha, light and joy, bechedvas Hashem, and joy of Hashem. So every time there's a Yom Tov, there's an added power, an added surge of energy, le'alhit aneshabois, to light up and ignite the souls. Ledavka b'is to cleave to Hashem b'yesas in a renewed vigor. Every Yom Tov, every Shabbos, there's a power energy from above, which if you pay attention to it, you can latch onto it and you can get into the mode. So you know the story, there was Richard Magi, there a bunch of Hasidim, the Hebraic Kadisha, and they decided one day to check it out because they said, Shabbos, we feel so elevated. Is it because it's Shabbos or because we are just putting ourselves Shabbos clothing and we're doing Shabbos things? So Tuesday night they got together and made Kabbalah Shabbos and they sang the whole thing. They put on Shabbos clothing, they tried the whole thing, and what happened? They had the same revelation. So they were very upset because now it's not Shabbos, it's us. So the Maggid explained to them, it's not Shabbat. That's not what happened. What happened was, you are so holy, you were able to bring about Shabbos on Tuesday. So Shabbos does it anyway, but you guys, you can make Shabbos also. But Shabbos has a Kedusha to it. Or befrata specifically, by Pesach. So every Yom Tov, there's something unique about that Yom Tov. Pesach misgalei chesed and pnimius and neshamis. What's Pesach? It's about love. On Pesach, your love is ignited. And then all the souls of Yidden are elevated and the sparks are just on fire. To arouse the love for Hashem and to push away all those things that are blocking you. What are they? Those things which are against the love of Hashem, which are physical, materialistic desires, to subdue the sitra achra. To subdue the sitra achra. So you see what's going on? The neshamas are elevated. When it comes to Shabbos and Yom Tov, every neshama is elevated. Specifically on Pesach, what's Pesach? Pesach is the Yom Tov of Av. Because Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot are Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So Pesach is Avraham. What's Avraham? Love. So on Pesach, if you pay attention, the story of Pesach is Hashem was revealed and the sparks were elevated, right? Pesach is a story of absolute love of Hashem. What does is Pesach? So what do you see? I have taivas, I'm stuck in my addictions, and Pesach is the love of Hashem revealed. I'm able to escape all my addictions. As it says, which means Hashem smote the Mitzrim with their B'chorim, because that's his chesed to the world. What did Hashem do? In order to reveal the chesed, what he did was, he smote the B'chorim. Now, smiting the B'chorim, you would think is not chesed, it's gura. Right? They say, no. Hashem wants the chesed to break through into the world. So what you're doing is, the way to get chesed in is not by thinking about love only, it's also by thinking about how the opposite forces block you and not allowing the opposite to block you. So you notice the things that are blocking you, the things that are taivas and addictions, etc., and you allow yourself to expand and to go beyond them. So what happens is every time there's a Pesach, a Jew's able to rise a notch above Gashmias, a notch above materialism into a span of space with Hashem. As it says, Mi zois oila mina midbar. Who is this? This is a pasuk in Shiur Hashem now, and Al Rebbe is going to now have a long running definition on this. Who is this girl, female, rising out of the desert? Ketimrot ashan, like pillars of smoke. Mekuteres mor, and there's incense, there's smell of more of beautiful herbs on her. Ulevoina, another type of herb. You call avkas reichel, all powders of the peddlers. So what he's describing is, there's a Jew, and the Jew is the lover of Hashem. Where is the Jew? In the desert. What's a desert? Where you are now. The desert is a space where a Jew is disconnected. And what happens is, the Zois, the Neshama, Midbar, rises outside of the desert, and when you do that, there's a pillar of smoke. Why is a pillar of smoke? Because smoke comes about from contrast. If you burn something, you get smoke. So the smoke is a Yidaleh, who's suddenly learning. When a Yid opens up a Likutei Torah, this moment, right, when you're sitting on the Likutei Torah, what does it do to you? If you pay attention, you have to get into it a little bit, and you see like the soul gets lifted by this. There's like the words over here, the Oisias Harav. They just take your soul and they pick you up to a higher level. So he says every Yom Tov is that. So Pesach, what happens on Pesach? The Zois, the Neshama, is elevated out of the desert, out of the things she's involved in. There's a pillar of smoke, and there's the perfumes on you. And that's because you suddenly see the love. And where do you see the love? He's doing chesed. Hashem's chesed is then, you look at what am I into? Loving Hashem could lead to a lot of feelings of inadequacy and pain and struggle, etc. All and regret. What did I do till now? So actually, tshuva, which is loving Hashem, is the contrast of how challenging things are without it. It's like the hard. So he says, Pirush, now let's unpack this possible. It's talking at the love of a boy and a girl, which is the love of Hashem and us. And that's the because Zois, we are called Zois. She rises outside of the desert. You have all the physical things which are blocking you from Hashem. They are a place of a desert and desolation. That's number one, what Midbar means. Midbar means a place void of Hashem. Number one. Number two, V'gam Midbar Lashon Dibur. And what does Dibur mean? De'ainu devarim betelim. All the nonsense, all the stupidity that I'm involved in. You look at your life and you say, Gott in Himmel. So like I was given a short span of time, and what am I doing with myself? What am I doing with life? And I'm into dvarim betelim all the time. So Midbar has a dual meaning over here, right? Again, he's shifting away from Esther now into Shiur Hashem. He'll come back to Esther. Mi zois, oila min midbar. It's a Jew. When he looks at himself, it's like, I'm in the desert. I'm poshet in the desert. I'm not seeing Hashem. And I'm in a midbar of speech, which means talking nonsense all the time. I'm partially wasting my time. The pasuk says, you have 70, 80 years. That's what you got. It just runs like. That's the problem. The life goes quickly. And you look at it, what's going on with me? On Shabbos and Moyed is a time when a Yid gets into the Shabbos zone. And now you're not blocked by Gashmi. It's like, okay, get me out of this nonsense. Like, let me rise up. And then what happens? The Oz. And then I'm in the middle of Pei Tzadik Daled. Line begins with Oz. Column 1, Mamish in the middle. Ve'azu ketimrot ashan. What you're going to get is pillars of smoke. K'moshe ashan gashmi. How do you get physical smoke? It comes about because sha'esh storem davar shu heper tivoi. When the fire burns something which is the opposite of its nature, the moisture that you have in the wood or in the wick, that the fire holds on to it. Why do you have a lot of smoke? Because you have a lot of moisture, that's why. Where does smoke come from? Smoke comes from, right? Because I'm burning a tree. So the moisture, the tree burns, but the moisture blocks the burning. And since everything has in it the moisture, that's what the moisture causes the burning, the smoke. So it is, Kach Kivyochel, Oir Hashem. Miskale b'Shabbos Yom Tovim, when the light of God is revealed in Shabbos and Yom Tov, and the Yid comes Shabbos. Even the way we celebrate Shabbos, we do it. We do this. You just got to pay attention to what we're doing. Shabbos is you're in the middle of a work week, and you block the work week out, and you create a zone, a haven of refuge. And where am I going to be this Shabbos? What am I doing? I have to stop everything. Shabbos is here. So when the light of God is revealed on Shabbos and Yom Tov, what happens? It burns and destroys the opposite in order to subdue the Sitra Achra. So the Sitra Achra, the Yid's over there, and he wants to achieve, he wants to succeed, he wants to make money, and he wants to be doing things. And Shabbos is calm yourself, calm your hormones. Shh. He said, but I need to do things. Shh. It's like stopping them. And you can almost sense how in that stoppage, it's like, okay, breathe. Because my mind tells me I got to wait till I achieve the big moment of 5 years' time. My 5-year dream will come about. And Hashem says, stop, pause, reflect, and look how Hashem feels good and accomplished right now because a work week went by. And you want to stop. And when you stop, it's like, that's the smoke coming rise. You can actually feel the steam. That's number one. So it's the contrast of Bidbar, which is a desert and not being able to speak, with the revelation of Hashem. So that's number one. Number two, besides the smoke, there's the incense, the Ktoiris. The Ktoiris is a very fine, edele mist. Vegami mekuteres kitor, right? We say binei lo kitor aretz, kitor in by Stone Ba'amora. Kitor is nikra oshon dak. It's a very subtle smoke. K'moy oshon mugmor ve'aktoires. Mugmor is in halacha, right? This they put on the clothing, this thing, and like it would sizzle out, whatever. Mist. It's so refined that you can't call it actual smoke. We call it the anan. When the Kohen Gadol walks to the Kodesh HaKadoshim, right? The way we believe, not like it's dukim, you walk inside and you light the fire inside, and then you have like the mist, the smoke, this ktoiris that comes up. It's an anana ktoiris. It's not smoke. It's very, very refined and edel. Now, what does that mean? So we said before, smoke comes about from the contrast. What's the contrast? Every Shabbos and Yom Tov, but you get into a contrast with what he's going through normally. But there's a contrast, which is an absolute contrast, which is like Ashan. And then there's Kitor, which is just a very subtle contrast. Because you're not contending with a total opposite. Sometimes you're dealing with an absolute, right? If you have a Baal Tshuva, he was a Rasha Gomor, flips over, and he changes over completely. Today I saw a story. Tzemach Tzedek told the guy that the guy came over to Tzemach Tzedek and he says, Rabbi, told him that whatever, that I forget the line. He'll never do tshuva, basically. Tzemach Tzedek told him a Jew, when he has kadachat is a fever, whatever. When he gets what's it called, typhus, one of those sicknesses, he does tshuva. And this maskil got typhus, he got kadachas, and he did tshuva. You got to go deeper into the Jew. So when you see the contrast, you'll always discover a Jew. You know, when a Jew is a from Jew, and you get, it's okay, whatever. So you learn the little mimer, it's nothing much. You should know when you learn a mimer, for example, there's a contrast in your life, and the contrast is, I'm a from Jew. I do Torah mitzvah. I do everything. I keep makbid kala kevachamura. When you start noticing, oh my gosh, it's like this subtle energy that shifts. And someone outside looks at you and like nothing changed about you. You're the same person. But if you pay attention, you'll see this Jew is completely transformed. Maybe even more than the Baal Tshuva. So the Ashan is the total transformation of the smoke. The Kitor is a subtle shift. You have to be on this level to burn away each person according to what he's able to do, as much as you can, level by level. So you got to get rid not only of the crass and disgusting feelings, that you got to get rid of even the subtleties. When you do that, more, then you'll become more. What's more? The Megillah says as follows. When it came the turn of every girl to come in front of the king. So what does that mean? Can you read the Megillah tonight? Read these words and you watch what happens. Oh, simple. And when it came the turn of every girl to come in front of the king, oh my gosh, what on earth am I reading with a straight face about these girls coming in front of the king? And I know what it means, right? It doesn't just come in front of the king. He was trying out every single one. It's ludicrous for us to sit in shul and actually talk about this. But you know what it is? Read the Megillah tonight and think about this story. Hamelech yesh rak echad. Hamelech ze Hashem. Who's the Nara? The Neshama. And every girl, every Neshama comes in front of the king. Shekol nitzot Yisrael, every spark of a Jew. You're a female to the Holy One, blessed be He. Each one of us. Come on, pour in. What do you want? Say, Hashem, I want a relationship. But I'm going through such and such. So there's problems on the outside, and there's all those things I'm going through, the crazy things I'm going through. And I'm it's the same pasuk. You're coming out of the desert. There's a pillar of smoke behind you. What's the smoke? The smoke is all the averot, all the concealment that you have. But averot, no, one thing, I forget the averot now. There's subtleties. There's a subtle nature that, do you really want Hashem, or do you want for your own self-aggrandizement? Is it about you? And it's paying attention to that. Means when every neshama gets to stand in front of Hashem, every one of us is very different. How do you do it? You have to immerse yourself. There's got to be a transformation. You want to stand in front of Hashem. I want a relationship with you. I want to feel bitachon in Hashem. I want to feel emunah in Hashem. I want to feel connected. I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel good about the connection. How do you do that? You can't just come in front of the king. Every girl has to dip herself, immerse herself. 6 months in Shemen Amor and 6 months in Besamim, perfume. So let's do it. What do? So he's not going to explain why Shisha Chadoshim. I don't know what Shisha Chadoshim means. I don't think we have to wait 6 months. But he explains what the Shemen Amor and the Besamim are. Shisha Chadoshim b'Shemen Amor, Shemen u'b'chinas ha'chochma. Shemen is chochma. Ma ze chochma? Why Shemen chochma? Because Shemen surfaces to the top always. Oil. Chochma is the koach ma. Ma ze koach ma? Koach habitul. Every one of us has this potential of letting go. That's koach ma. How do you learn intellectually? When you let go. When you have your own approach, you'll never learn. When do you learn? When it's not about you, it's about letting go of the subject matter. So you have to immerse yourself for 6 months in this oil of chochma. מה זה אומר? להיות בבחינת מור, בבחינת מרירות. The shemen, when you dip yourself in the shemen, it's going to be very bitter. You know why it's bitter? How do you do tshuva? The way you do tshuva, the path to do tshuva is not by thinking about the Averis. Because like Einstein said, that, what was the Lashon? The doing the thing again and again. What was the Lashon he used? The stupidity is doing the same thing again and again, expecting different results. So you can do tshuva. What's going to change? Well, why should life change? Because what? The way a chassid does tshuva is not by thinking about Averis, it's by thinking about Hashem. That's why we don't say Slach Lanu V'Nikachotanu before davening. We say it in the middle of Shemon Esrei. You think about Hashem, and you think about, so there's Einan Milvadi. There's nothing besides Hashem. Elokut is everything. Hashem is right in front of me. And I am the You know how stupid we're going to feel when Mashiach comes? You think about it. Mashiach comes today. So we're going to feel absolutely stupid. I don't understand. I was chasing like ridiculous things. I was chasing such nonsense. And you know, I was talking to my son-in-law yesterday that like Mashiach is literally in the air. And the Rebbe saw it 30 years ago. Look what's happening in the world today. It's insanity. Like the fact that there's these two countries in the world, United States of America and Israel. Tiny little Israel. And Israel's fighting alongside the United States. And all these other countries are watching the two biggest ma'atzamot ha'olam fighting together. And it looks as natural as you could get. And everyone's upset. And the whole world's going crazy right now. And you don't see Mashiach in the air. And then if you pay attention to all the AI revolutions and everything going on, it's just like soon you won't have to do anything. Everything's done for you by someone else. Like Mashiach is in the air. It's like mamish happening. And it's happening so naturally and seamlessly. And he's about to come. And when he comes, what are you going to say? What did the Ayatollah think? He thinks that he wasn't going to be killed. He knew he was going to be killed. Just like it was happening, the war was about to happen. He's shaita. You just do something about it now. So it's the same thing for us. You know it's about to happen. You see all the signs. You were told there's a sign that's getting closer and closer and closer. What are we doing? Involved in such stupidities and such vanities. It's unreal. So when a Yid suddenly senses that, oh my gosh, mizot olam min hamidbar, he realizes Mashiach is coming and I'm going to be caught naked in my pajamas. So what do? There's the smoke that rises. It's like the sense of, whoa, of what am I doing? When Mashiach is going to come, what's going to happen to me? So that's, how do you get there? When you immerse yourself in bitul, shemen, shisha chodashim b'shemen amor. The shemen, the oil of Hashem causes bitterness. Why bitterness? Because when you get close to Hashem, you look, what did I do? Chassidim will talk about tshuva. They say there was a bunch of a chassid once walked to the river side, and he saw a bunch of goyim, and they were trying to get across the river. And one of them said to the other one, he says, you cross the river over there. There's a big. They could see there's a big in the middle of it. There's white waters. You will die if you're going to try to cross. You will die. But the river looks calm. So one of the guys is not a rookie sailor. He comes and says, "I can do this, no problem." The other guys tell him, "If you go there, you're going to die. In the middle there, you're going to sink and die. There's no chance of survival." He says, "Watch, I'm going to do it, no problem." He goes and halfway through the river, the boat capsizes and pushes him over. And in a few minutes, they all watch him helpless, and he dies. So this chassid is looking and he says, what was the guy thinking in those moments about his friends who told him not to go and he didn't listen? Whatever he was thinking, that's tshuva. Right? That's the tshuva. So that's the smoke that rises. Like, what are you doing? And it's a heavy smoke. It's a realization of what am I doing? How do you get there? A chassid gets there not by negative, not by thinking about Averis, by thinking about Hashem. And then you see that. You're coming in front of the king. And the king says, dip yourself for 6 months in the oil.
That's the Mariris as opposed to the Atzvus.
Yes, very true. Mariris is a bitterness of get out of this. When you say Kriyat Shema Lamita, you think about Hashem, Shema Yisrael Hashem Egen Hashem Echad, and then you get bitterness. Get out of this. It was Perek Lamed Aleph, right? You get out of this desert you're in, and you crumble and crush and separate the badly as Kolev and Yisra to be burnt Be'ashan in a smoke. Ve'kitor. What's the kitor? The kitor is if you start, when you get close to Hashem, you start realizing, like, do you think you'll be punished for not having bitachon in Hashem? Yeah, guy says, come on, Hashem not punishing for not having bitachon in Hashem. Seriously. Then he gets close to Hashem. What did he discover? Shaita, we weren't talking about punishment. We're talking about you could have gotten billions of dollars and everything you needed and everything you have by having trust in Hashem. And you just framed it as a punishment for not having bitachon. Suddenly you realize, no, when you have bitachon, the world around you changes and things could happen, miracles. You'd be like, I lived my whole life not chapping this. That's the kitor. So the smoke is from aveirot turning over. That's real tshuva, full tshuva. The kitor is the more refined type of things. What were you getting angry for? What were you getting upset for? So this is when you read the Megillah tonight, you're going to think about my neshama wants to get in front of Hashem. Some neshamas have ashan. Some neshamas have kitor. But every one of us realize when you get close to Hashem, OMG, what I've been involved in till now. And what that does is it's the shisha chodashim b'shem and amor, it's the bitterness of tshuva. You'll grasp very thoroughly how bitter it is to be the opposite. The Rebbe going, right? The story that he goes to visit the guy, and the guy didn't know it was Rebbe going. The next day he found out. He changed on the Rebbe. I'm so sorry that I didn't treat you with respect. He says, but you did. He says, but I didn't know that it was Rebbe Gaon coming to me. I lost something lev. And then when you do this, so now, Shisha chodashim b'shem amor, v'shisha chodashim b'besamim. Ma ze besamim? In the pasuk in Shir HaShirim, Mi zot olam min hamidbar, mekuteret mor ulevona. The mor is the bitterness, and then there's the levoina. Levoina is the whiteness. Bechedvas Hashem, ibechinas hasimcha bechedvas Hashem yismach Yisrael ba'is. So that's today's Tanya. Yismach Yisrael be'osav. It's like once you've gone through, okay, it's bad, yeah, it's terrible, but now, wow. But the Rebbe says in yesterday's Tanya, when a Jew's depressed, focus on emunah. Hashem is close to you right now. This moment is the closest moment of absolute connection to Hashem. And when you get that, Yismach Yisrael ba'isad, you'll pay attention that Hashem is with you. And how much would a simpleton be excited if he saw the king right there with him? So 6 months of bitterness and 6 months of absolute joy. You've got to jump for joy about what it means to be a Yid. וזהו עניין 6 חודשים בבשמים. כי כמו שהריח נקלט ונכנס לתוך גופו ומענג בדשא נפשו, just like smell. Enters into your body and it gives you a tainug, a pleasure. Agam shu davar shein mamash. Even though smell has nothing, has no mamashut, there's no smell is not, it doesn't have any tangibility. You can't see anything by the eye. It's absorbed into your body. What is it? You see a Jew who's besimcha. You don't see anything. He looks the same. People who understand know that when you're in simcha, your face is shining. Shining. And yesterday you were in a state that you thought the world was falling apart, and today nothing happened, and you just have absolute faith in Hashem and trust, and today you're in a state of total joy. So what happens is, that simcha, be'olma discuss, it comes in the concealed world. And in the Tanya of yesterday, was it 2 days ago? He says, that Tanya Perek Chavav, I'm sorry. He says the line, the pasuk in Shoftim, that when Hashem does good to you, okay, that's revealed good. When Hashem does things that seem bad to you, that means it's super good. Like the sun, you're staring it in the eyes, and it becomes black. So when a Jew decides, no matter what's happening, how bad things are, he jumps for joy and he experiences a Purim, and he goes into the etzem zach of what he is. What happens to him is he changes over completely, right? And that joy, what do you see? Nothing. So every neshama, before you go in front of the melech, learn and understand who Hashem is and feel the love of Hashem and the bitterness of who you are. Is to get excited and happy. And then, you see, it's not that the king wanted them to do things for 6 months and 6 months. It's that the only way to get in front of Hashem, you get the difference? This is a subtle, massive difference. The only way to get in front of Hashem is if you go through the 6 months and 6 months. That's what he just said. That's the beauty of it. Because going in front of Hashem is not, in the story of the Megillah, they physically had to walk. No. You're trying to elevate yourself to get close to Hashem. The process of going in front of Hashem is learning step one, understanding how, wow, and then seeing the bitterness of life, of where I'm holding, and the Ashan and Kitor. Then you get even closer to Hashem, and you start jumping for joy. And if you didn't jump for joy, you're not in front of the melech. Because atzvus, sadness, blocks the king from you. And when you're in a state of joy, that's what he's saying. It's not tangible, but there's nothing greater than that. That's why it's called besamim. It's an intangible. To get excited, all sorts of powders of the peddler. Every Jew's got his space. The who being Inyan Tamuki Anoshim Shebechol Eila Nara Ba'el Melech. Now look at the pasuk. Ubozeh Nara Ba'el Melech. You get it? If you read the Megillah, it's like just a stupid king telling him to dress up and put things on or whatever because he wanted them in front of him. You look at the way the Alter Rebbe reads the Megillah. A Jew wants to get close to Hashem. So he says, you got to learn Chassidus. You got to immerse yourself in it and feel the bitterness of, what am I doing? Then you get excited, you jump for joy, you experience a Purim. Wow, to be attached to Hashem. And when you do this, the 6 months and 6 months, with this experience of joy that comes from it, you are the girl in front of the king. You're right there in front of the king, in front of Hashem. Tomorrow, maybe if anyone's around, pop in for bringing after the Suda. We're having a Suda in the shul, and for bringing afterwards. Maybe Lakewood's too far, but 5,000 is not so bad. Tomorrow morning, we're learning regular, everybody. Not regular, Purim style, even more. Finish this Maimon, Mitzvah Hashem. Same time, same place. Freilach and Erev Purim lekulam, tiny sister.
Purim, thank you very much.
Freilach and Purim.
Nisan, we missed you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Purim.
Yeah,